For our Making Moves segment, I'm joined by two powerful voices in health equity advocacy. Emmai Alaquiva is a four-time Emmy Award winning filmmaker, composer. He is a White House Champion of Change honoree. He's known for his visionary work that fuses art with activism. Once homeless, Alaquiva is now the CEO of Your Mom's House Incorporated, co-founder of Hip Hop on Lock, and curator of Optic Voices. Alaquiva has been nationally honored as Black Enterprise Magazine's Top 100 Modern Men of Distinction, appointed by Governor Tom Wolf to serve on the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, and is a national BME community leader recognized by President Barack Obama. He directed critically acclaimed The Ebony Canal, a groundbreaking documentary that sheds light on systemic disparities in Black maternal and infant health. Working alongside Viola Davis, his work elevates unheard voices and sparks national dialogue, all while blending cinematic excellence with cultural urgency. Through his storytelling, Emmai transforms personal pain into powerful advocacy that demands our attention and action. What led you to begin telling stories like the ones in the Ebony Canal?
Well, I started doing, I like to call artivism, where we intersect art and activism. So I started with my 8-year-old daughter, where we put together a PSA when George Floyd was murdered. We put together a PSA for the deaf and hard of hearing community. No one in our family is deaf or hard of hearing, but we felt the need to do something that was meaningful at the time. So we did that, very successful. My 8-year-old was featured on Good Morning America. Our PSA, which was only 59 seconds, went on to, win countless film festivals, 300 million people worldwide, 60 countries. And she learned her voice. She learned the power of her voice, even at 8 years old. So being able to take that to Optic Voices, then from Optic Voices to the Ebony Canal, underscores what we need to do as artists to take things to the next level. So working on this documentary for 2 years, from 2022 to 2024, we followed mothers from conception, their entire 9 months of pregnancy, all the way to the child's very first birthday. So this film really centers around Black and brown infant mortality, but of course, maternal mortality is involved in that, and maternal health is involved with that. So when we think about how we can do a powerful film like this and have individuals like Kamala Harris, you have creative collaborations with Keke Palmer, you also have individuals like Dr. Lamar Rucker, and then to top it off, to have someone like Viola Davis add their voice to a film like this, even after her watching just a trailer, before we even finished the film, she wanted to be a part of this. And that underscores it's going to take all of us to really take this to the next level.
That's quite a powerful team.
Yeah.
I know the mothers in your film, women like Larissa Lane and Mariah Peoples, chose to share their most painful experiences on camera. Have they shared with you why they were willing to be so vulnerable on such a grand scale as this?
Larissa, Mariah, Alana, Rachel, bless their heart at being able to be vulnerable, especially over the course of these months, almost 2 years of their lives being sort of documented, and, us following them. They understood the superhero or the super shero that lies within them. And, upon calling them and them finding out about the film, they said, whatever you need, let's make it happen. Because at the end of the day, we have to save babies. And bless Larissa's heart, Zori, baby Zori, he was only 2 days old and we lost him. So, we have to really uncover a lot of the things. We have to uncover the poor death rates. We have to, the morbidity, just all of the disparities that wrap around this. And as a father, I had to do something because sometimes, often fathers get pushed out.
Right.
but how can we make sure fathers has the presence that they need? Because we understand that death rates go down considerably when there's a birthing partner or a father or a boyfriend that's in, a part of the process. So we understand these things to be true and to evident of where we are in the hole, but it's going to take all of us in order to get out of that hole, which is why we have a film, The Ebony Canal. Of course, when you think of ebony, you think of a dark shade or a brown color.
Right.
When you think of a canal, you think of one body of life to another, connecting to another body of life. So even though poetic terms of this being called the Ebony Canal, and how we all have to be vessels, because Black women, Black and brown women, Black and brown babies are literally being sucked in by the undercurrents of healthcare. And we got to change that.
I'm really glad that you're doing this work and really moved by the involvement of people like Viola Davis. Can you tell us how did working with her in particular change this project? What did she bring beyond just her voice and her platform?
When you hear Viola's voice, you hear Viola's energy, period, point blank. We didn't need to have Viola, in the film, doing anything or whatnot. The fact that she narrates this and carries us through the canal, it's almost like being on the boat and hearing the announcer, over the loudspeaker. This is the voice of change. This is one of the most incredible, impeccable voices of our time. Bless, Maya Angelou, also bless Felicia Rashad, who was originally going to be the voice of this film, but she's voicing the soundtrack. Viola was just perfect. And we had a producer have her watch the teaser, which is about 3 minutes and 43 seconds. And when she watched it, something came over her and said, listen, clear everything on my schedule. I need to be a part of this. And she's focused on a lot of legacy projects. So she wanted this to be clearly one of her legacy projects. So the fact that she said, hey, listen, fly out to LA, let's go in the studio, let's cut these vocals. And it was a miraculous experience, but it was also testimony on how so many people, regardless of their celebrity, need to come together to help save Black moms and their children. That's what we need to do. And to be involved in that in a very artistic way is just mind blowing. And we're currently on a film festival run. We just won Best Documentary for Social Impact at Essence
Congratulations.
Festival. We just won 3 Webby Awards. It's more awards than any documentary this year. We just won 5 Tellys. So even though it's not about the awards, it is about putting this into a level where people sort of gravitate towards the change that we got to make. So although we're not doing it for awards and things, we are very proud and we are blessed to be able to have that. But the more eyes that are on this film, the more change we're going to have, which is why we encourage everybody in Philadelphia to come to our screening on July 29th and really, really become a vessel for this change.
And I would say that the fact that you have garnered so many awards for this film speaks to the amount of love and effort and professionalism that was put into it. It really end up with will end up with more eyes seeing the film, more ears hearing the
Yes,
stories, and more mouths sharing what they experienced. And hopefully that will help in the process of turning the tide to make
of
Ebony
course.
Canal one that
I see what
has
you did there,
a
turning
bright
outside. I see what you
and
doing. Yeah.
yes. I know you spent 2 years making this documentary, and
Yes.
without giving away too much for those who are planning to see it on the 29th or who otherwise haven't seen it,
Sure.
did you discover that will shock our listeners about how Black women are treated in our healthcare system?
Well, what they're going to discover without giving it away too much is This isn't a angry film. This isn't a film where, we're going to pull up to doctors in the alleyway and try to punk them and things of that nature. No. This film, and what makes this film different from like a Aftershock or other documentaries, is we really focus on three H's. We focus on the hurt, the healing, but also the hope. You know what I mean? Because that's what the culture is all about. Yes, we've been through a lot, and there's a lot that we have to heal, but there's also hopeful solutions. There's hopeful solutions with other individuals that are in this film. Elaine Welteroth from Birth Fund, Charles Johnson from For Care for Moms, Kimberly Seals Ellers from Earth App, Lamont Thomas. These are individuals that are really focused on the new wave of solution-driven practices as we move the needle forward. So you'll be surprised that, it's not, oh my God, I feel so bad. No, we have certain things in, you know, I'll give this away. When the film first comes on, you see women swimming in water, and that's not really done a lot. So from a cinematic perspective, you're going to be blown away, and you're going to be amped up to make change, period. And me as an artist, to be able to partner with Coco Black and other organizations, in the Philadelphia area to bring this film underscores what we need and the change that we're continuing to make on a daily basis. We will not be moved, but we will move. And that's what I want people to lock in.
I love that. Hurt, healing, and hope. You
Yes,
may
hurt, healing, and hope.
thank you so much for sharing that powerful vision of building up the Ebony Canal and the incredible work happening in our community. How
Thank
should
you.
people stay in touch with you? Give us your
Yes,
Instagram handles and let people
absolutely.
know.
Yes, we would love people to become vessels on our social media if possible. We are on Instagram as the Ebony Canal, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all of the social media outlets for sure. The more individuals get involved, the more people will be sort of would love this story and would be a part of what we need to do in order to make change. So thank you all, the Ebony Canal. We love y'all.
Thank you. You heard it. The Ebony Canal on all your socials. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.
Thank you so much.